My name is Captain Barry Cohen from the Township of Union Police Department. With me today I have officers from our department as we come to celebrate and recognize Black History Month and the achievements and contributions of many Black Americans. Today we will be having a roundtable discussion on various topics such as why these officers chose a career in law enforcement, the pressures and challenges they face, as well as other topics. So I want you to sit back, relax, and get to know these amazing people with me. I'd like to start off by introducing our first panel, Todd Stratford.
Yes. Hi, I'm Sergeant Stratford, the Township of Union Police Department. I've been here for about 15 years. I joined right after the military, and I'm currently assigned to patrol.
I'm Detective Grum. I've been on the Township of Union Police Department for 13 years now. In the detective group for a year. I'm in the county SWAT team as well. Came here from prior military service and then corrections.
Good, thank you. Next.
I'm Detective Freeman. I've been here for 12 years. I've been a detective now for less than a year, a couple months now. I've been working in patrol. I was in the drug recognition expert field while there. And but predominantly most of my career on nighttime patrol.
Great, okay.
Officer Span, currently assigned to the traffic unit, Union Center officer for it's my third year. Before that, I did 8 years of patrol on nights.
Sounds good.
I'm Officer Beatty. I've been assigned to the community policing unit for the last 3 years. I've been in the police department for about 6 years, and here I am.
Great.
I'm Officer Tamika Williams. I've been in patrol for about 6.5 years, and prior to this, I was in state corrections for about 7 years.
Okay.
I'm Officer Neonte Senyan. I've been in the Township of Union Police Department for about 5 years. Started my law enforcement journey in the Northern State Prison, Department of Corrections. I just currently am assigned to the Union High School as the SRO.
Officer Randy St. Louis, the one and only, and been here for about 4.5 years now. I did 7 strong years in El Paso, Texas, following my military career. Now I'm here assigned to patrol. We're here.
All right, thank you all for coming. We're going to get started. So Sergeant Stratford, we'll start off with you.
Sure.
What made you choose a career in law enforcement, and what steps did you take to obtain this?
Prior to this uniform, like I said, I was in the military. I made a conscious decision to join right after 9/11. The military right after 9/11. I did 4.5 years in the Marine Corps. I took the exam shortly after I got out. I just felt that from my training experience would best translate to this uniform, and I was in a position to where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I just said, you know what, why not give law enforcement a shot? It's the same in terms of service and doing for your country, just on a more local level. So that's primarily why.
And here you are.
There I am. Yep.
Anybody else? Jump in.
I started, the reason why I got in, actually my brother-in-law, who is also employed here at Township of Union Police. Shout outs to my brother-in-law, Yuri Menace. I saw him go through the journey, and what really interested me was the brotherhood, right? It's an exclusive club to get into. It's not easy. Very few are allowed to have this privilege to work here, so that's what really sparked my interest, and took the test. At first didn't score as high, got offered the job in corrections, which I felt working there for a year made me a better policeman here, because I was able to learn how to speak to people. That's half the battle here, how to talk to people and get your point across verbally rather than physically. So just seeing him go through that sparked me, and now I'm here.
Sounds good.
Yep, that's the same for me. I was, when I started out with corrections too, after taking the test, when you apply for so many places, and then, you got so many people calling you. So it was like, okay, so where do you start? So, I started with corrections because they moved the process a little faster.
Right.
So, and like Nay said, starting at corrections helps you talk to people without all the necessities that we have now. Like we working around the violent people or the people that's just, does things that's criminal wise versus the public and, you know, other things that we do now. So that does help you, you know, pretty much be able to talk to people in all different, you know, how they are, like personalities and things like that. And that pretty much helps me along the way here.
Good.
I know for myself, my aspirations for law enforcement started when I was in college at Seton Hall University. I did an internship at Somerset County Prosecutor's Office, and from the first day to my last day, I got to see a murder trial commence. And what really resonated to me was on one of my last days, it was when they were determining whether a person's guilty or not guilty. And I show up to the court, and it's the patrolman there, the detectives there, the county prosecutor, detectives. And when the person was ultimately found guilty, the mother of the victim personally thanked every single officer from start to finish. And it just clicked to me. I was like, you know what? That's how I want to help people. This is what I want to do. And from that point, here I am.
Nice.
My story is different. So I was active duty in Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. Did my time. Then I joined the police department out there, El Paso Police Department. Then I promised my wife, I said, hey, listen, someday we're going to return to New Jersey and I'll be a cop in Union someday. And it took me 7 years. So
And that day came.
And then the day came, you know, I left El Paso and I'm here. So, but it's good to be here, you know, with the brothers, sisters in law enforcement, same dynamics, you know, we can improve on some things are still good, but we're here.
Good.
Glad to have you.
I just want to jump to Detective Freeman for a minute to respond, because you have an interesting background.
Yes, you're familiar with it because I'll put it out there. We've worked together for a couple of years now, many years, especially when I first got here. But yeah, I went to law enforcement. Most of you know because of my mother, because she was a Hudson County Corrections Officer. So, but we were still in, you know, the urban environment or whatever, you know, if you want to describe it as such. So it was good seeing her not only come from that element, but become an officer in that element, because you got to see like there was an alternative. You know, you didn't have to use anything, you didn't have to become anything. You were able to follow, you know, that righteous path, be a cop and do it the right way, even in the mud, you know, as the kids would say, you know. So I always revered that about her, and I'm proud to be an officer, and I just hope I continue doing her proud and continue doing you guys proud as well.
Absolutely.
You are.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank you,
man.
sir.
Nice.
Thank you, Randy.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So I grew up from a law enforcement family. My father and grandfather were cops in East Orange. Grandfather retired as a captain. My dad retired as a sergeant. So I grew up around it, had a respect for it, you know, like the whole, I guess, like hero thing, you know, role model aspect of it. But there was no pressure on me to become a cop. It kind of something happened organically as I got older. Like, it's something I want to do, you know. So I started making preparations, talking to my dad, grandfather, you know, asking them questions, you know, how it worked out for them, you know, input and advice, and then started testing. And it took a while. It took a while to get here, you know, went through my journeys. But Union gave me a chance. They told me they liked me as a person. Nothing about my background, nothing about the application. We like you as a man. And I'm here now, and I'm happy for it.
Okay, thank you. Detective Crum.
Yeah, to piggyback off, I started off military career as well, Army National Guard. I retired as a staff sergeant from there, 2 tours. So I felt like a lot of the values and the morals and stuff that I learned in the military translated into law enforcement. So when I came home from my first deployment, that's when I kind of like got interested in taking civil service exams, stuff like that. Like some other officers here as well. Started off in corrections. The process was it's a bigger department, so the process moves a little faster. So I kind of took that first. Really liked working in corrections. I was in Trenton State Prison, or New Jersey State Prison, and then I kind of got hired here. I got hired in Union, and I realized that the opportunity was a little better. I'll be able to be a little closer to home, stuff like that, and with more opportunities. So I took this job.
And you guys like being here, so that's good. And we're happy to have you. Awesome, awesome. All right, so next question I have. Being in the line of work that you're all in, do you feel any pressures and challenges because of the role that you have And you are now perceived as a role model, especially to a lot of young people and teenagers. What are your feelings on that?
Oh, for you guys don't mind, I'll
Go
jump
ahead,
in.
go ahead.
Just get mine out the way.
Hit it.
All right, I think there's a negative connotation to it. I don't believe that it should be negative. Yes, there is an added pressure, but I don't believe that's a bad thing. It's just another layer of accountability, I would say we have. So, yes, we have to do everything right to the letter of the law, to protect the public. But we also have families to go home to, extended families that we also don't want to let down. How do you feel either? No matter if it was legal, justified or whatever. We want them to make sure that they feel like we're doing the right thing. So we have an added obligation. I don't believe that's a bad thing. I believe that having a layered or more deeper sense of accountability to a community, I don't believe that's necessarily a bad thing, especially in today's time. So I do feel it's an added pressure, from the African American community to make sure that things are on up and up. I don't believe that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing.
So let me just add to that, something for you guys to think about while you're doing that, and you can answer this too. Do you feel that the pressures or challenges that you faced over this time have changed somewhat, or?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I would say, yes, it changed on things that happened, for example, on your ship, right? I would say that, myself and my partner, Bartholomew Crum, we were probably the first two young African Americans that were put in a car at one point. We didn't know the effect that had, but then when other officers like Detective Akiri, who came here and told us, he told us, I came here because I saw you and the Crum, I wanted to be you and Crum. So I think that those things are important. So it's definitely that visualization and representation that are important,
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that a little bit. I didn't take this job to set out to be like anyone's role model or anything like that. And I think there are different types of role models. I think there are role models that take on that role and take on that responsibility. And it's also, I believe in people being role models just by how you see me, right? So I'm not gonna talk a lot about, I'm not gonna try to be your mentor. That's really not my position, but hopefully by you watching me and you watching my career, I don't have to let my work speak for itself. And I really, really believe in that very strongly. It's also pressure because, especially being African American, there's pressure to remain the same, to stay yourself, and to not let this job consume you and take away your personality. It's easy to get into this career and let it kind of diminish your personality. You have to stay yourself. There's a lot of pressure to remain yourself and remain the person that you were even through different types of climates, right? Because the same way people liked cops 20 years ago, they don't view cops the same.
Right.
So and especially in our community. So it's a struggle. At one point it was, if you were a cop or a police officer, and probably everyone has been here and worked in law enforcement long enough to attest to this, during the George Floyd incidents and at the height of that, it was a lot of, you were getting backlash just for the job that you worked. So there's a lot of pressure on that. And it does change you, it makes you smarter, and it makes you deal with people and deal with certain things, I think, in a better aspect because of the pressures on yourself.
To me,
I'm a piggyback off of both Crum and Freeman. So, as a father, that's the most important thing to me this day. All right, and as an African American father who has a son, all right, I have to set an example. Okay, I have to show him what's right. All right, I have to be a leader, in and on the department, work inside, outside the house. I have to be an example. So pressures, yeah, there's pressures. But the number one priority is making sure he sees what a strong African American male is doing within the society. Good. So you can read it in the book, but seeing it shows you this is right. So I can step out this house every day knowing that I too am a strong African American male, and I too can be an example in society.
Sounds awesome.
And to piggyback off that too, I think now we're in a day and age with the pressure. It's more relatability, right? So kids now, if they see it, they see somebody like, me, Detective Crum, Detective Freeman, not to be funny, but the way we wear our hair. You know what I mean? Now, like about 40 years, 20, 30 years ago, nobody, the cut was a fade, you were bald, you know what I mean? The kids like, man, I ain't cutting my hair. That's how they kind of view things, you know? So when they see us come out the car and they stop and they look, they're like, oh man, you think you wear your hair like that? I'm like, yeah. You know, this is how it is. They relate to us. They can see themselves in us. And you know, so that's a big thing too. That's a motivating factor too with anything. If you can see it, you can achieve it. And then also with the pressure too is we have one of the few jobs in the world that we don't have the luxury to be bad, right? Like you can be a bad chef, you could be a bad doctor, you know what I'm saying? But this job, we don't have the luxury to be bad because we'll be judged on that. So I think that in itself is a pressure, and I think that we've taken that on as African American officers the most because we have to, in a sense, protect our community, protect us. That's how they kind of see us. They see us, and they're like, okay, he understands how we feel, you know, when we interact with the cops. You know, so our job now is to kind of swing and change that whole narrative of how they view us. You know, so I think day by day, we're trying to do that, and like I said, the relatability is huge. If they see us and they feel comfortable with us and they can see themselves in us, that's going to make them want to apply for the job.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So.
And that's a lot of pressure. Like, I will add to what everybody's saying here, like, this department is predominantly male. I'm the only female in my crew. So, you know, when I'm out here dealing with the public or just whatever, you know, you have the public looking at us and seeing us, and even with like the kids, and they're like, oh, I like her hair. Like they said, like, you know, I get to wear blue hair just to reflect myself. And like Crum said, it's a pressure to try to remain yourself because, like I said, it's predominantly male, and then when you try to voice yourself or do something, it's like, you know, I'm a female. So it's a little bit different, and it is a lot of pressure. So it's hard. It's hard, but I'm here, and I'm doing it.
That's it.
Good job.
I always see the pressure in a positive light, that even just me putting a uniform on, some people do generally look at you as a role model and are excited to see. Like one of my first couple weeks of the job, I remember going to lunch and some kid just wanted to come up and take a picture of me. And it was one of those moments like, wait, this kid really wants to take a picture of me. And then it really clicks, like, I really need to be on top of my A game because this person sees me as a role model, and I don't want to disappoint them as if I wouldn't want to disappoint my nieces, my nephew, or any kids or anybody important to me. So I always keep that in the back of my mind, that I need to be my very best, even when it's the worst moment, because for them, their worst moment, they need me to be my very best.
Right.
I would say, you know, being third generation member of this community, it's definitely pressure, but you know, pressure makes diamonds. So, you know, I don't fall short of it. I've gone on many calls, and some guys here can probably attest to it. A lot of people know me, you know, like I said, my family's been here for a long time, and I think that actually helps big time because they see me, especially being, you know, a supervisor, you know, they'd be like, whoa, you a supervisor? I was like, yeah, because, you know, there's not many of us. But we're all going to try and, you know, do our best to change that. But I think it's definitely positive when they see, especially you go on calls and they're like, oh, I know him, that's Stratford. You know, it kind of calms the situation down a lot too when you can relate to the people that you serve because they know you, they've seen you growing up. You know, a lot of people, hey, I ain't seen you in, you know, so many years, and so I think that's critical too. So that pressure is good. It's good because they look to you, you know. So
Yeah.
I won't say it's pressure, but I am mindful. You know, that I'm with the kids every day, at the middle school kids twice a day. You build a relationship, they're watching. You know, you talk to them, they size you up a little bit. It's a lot of relatability. I think I'm more like on the younger side of things still. I like to think that anyway. My daughter keeps me young, so I joke with her, like, you know about that? You know about this wrestler or that rap song? Like, yeah, I know, you know. So relatability is important. You know, they're watching, they are watching. So I be mindful of that, you know, when I speak to them and how I carry myself, even in the center. I see them around town, I see them in ShopRite. Somebody's always watching you, will remember you.
Yeah.
And they say, man, you cool, man. You always like even kill, got good demeanor, you friendly. So there's no pressure, but I am mindful that, you know, you're always being watched and how you carry yourself is important.
Good. Good. All right. So my next question, how do you feel about your current position within the department? And how do you feel that your position can or is benefiting the residents of Union? Okay.
Anyway, I think same thing. I know I have a presence from being in the Union Center and with the school. Parents tell me every day, we love you out here. They always like grateful for me being out there with the kids, getting them home safe every day. Even in the center, I walk in the store, I talk to everybody, any problems. Just my presence is felt. I'm told all the time, and they appreciate my presence. So community policing is something I wanted to do. If not be a detective, that was always my outlook in my career.
Yeah, you're interacting with both the business owners and the
Yeah,
residents,
everyone.
as well as even visitors coming in, going to local shops and things like that. So.
Like I know, just humbly saying that, I know my role and my presence is felt, and I'm happy for that, and I'm gonna continue doing it.
Good.
Yeah, see, so like for me, it's very simple. You know, everybody has been on a call with me, especially Freeman. I serve with compassion. I'm a very compassionate guy. I'm a very, you know my feelings, you see my feelings. I serve the community with compassion. Whether it's a good call or a bad call, I'm still going to serve you with compassion. That's what my father taught me. Hey, if you're going to do something, do it with compassion. This way, the outcome will be better. So it's easy to serve the public. Very easy, even when they, acting up sometimes.
That's it.
I think I'm in a good position. Being an SRO at the high school, all of you know my personality. I'm a jokester. I'm singing most of the time. If I'm not doing that, you're asking me what's wrong, everything okay? So I think, I was put there because, again, I'm officers, man, I'm on the younger side of things, not too old, but, young enough to where I'm in the middle. The kids see me, oh, he's cool, he's all right, he got jokes. That's, the big thing with them. They like to joke around a lot, but they also can see the serious side, like, okay, well, he's doing this, I can attain that. Maybe in a couple years when he's gone, maybe this is something I want to do. You know what I mean? And also I think the big key is bridging that gap is just talking to them. Like a lot of kids, I think at this day and age, they're real quiet. I grew up in a household where, my parents were working all the time. So I made it the conscious effort for my kids that, and wife, that we're going to sit down and, have dinner as a family to communicate. A lot of these kids, you don't even realize they're not talking to anybody when they're home.
Right.
So just to say, hey, good morning, what's going on? What you been up to? And they tell you what's going on. And then the next day or 2 days later, you go up to them, hey, what happened? How was everything the other day? That makes them feel really good. Like, oh, wow, he remembered. They take that and they hold on to that. Like Officer Singing, he cares. And I do care about the kids because eventually, right, when I'm out of here, they're gonna be the new recruits. They're gonna be the new guys running this town. So for them to be able to have that connection to them is big because I need to help them and show them like, hey, this is a great job. You servicing your community and you're the future. If you want to affect change and you want change, you got to be in it. You just can't talk about it. And the way to do that is, apply, get here, be here, do things, show the other kids, it's a constant circle to be doing that. So I feel I'm in a good position, even though I'm in high school, and when you're in high school, you want to leave, but now look, I'm back there, but it's no complaints at all.
Good.
I'll jump in. In terms of my position, I love where I am, especially now. I do believe there's an added benefit when you're following up on certain investigations, or you go in for a statement and they see you, and they're much more willing to speak to you. They're someone that they feel like there's someone who's going to get them. And therefore I feel like you have a better interview. And I love that context. I love having those kinds of situations because a lot of times people just need to know. This isn't about me arresting your neighbor or something like that. This is your quality of life has been bad. You do not deserve to live this way. I don't care what anyone's told you. I don't care what your ideas of snitching are. You don't deserve to be around us. So I think having detectives, which is myself and my partner Crumb, what you're able to do is go out there and explain that to these people, and then they want to speak to you. And that's what this is all about. Because without information sharing, we're nothing. We're garbage. Without the community's assistance, we're garbage. It is a vital part of what we do. So I love my position because I feel like we are strengthening that bond between us and the community, at least to the best of our ability. One interaction you know, each cop, each time. So I think that's what we have to do.
What's up?
Yeah, I loved being in the detective group, just more personal. Like, so when officers on patrol, like when they deal with a lot of these citizens, it's the initial confrontation or the initial incident that occurs, and a lot of time they're dealing with people that are excited, or they're, like as Officer Beatty said, they're dealing with somebody on their worst day. By the time they get to me and I'm assigned the cases, probably the next day, things have had a chance to cool down. And the majority of my job is contacting victims of crime and stuff like that, and talking to them on the phone, they'll tell you. Just having conversations with people on the phone, letting them tell me their side of the story. And oftentimes it's not, some of the conversation I'm having with the victims is not even relevant to the case, but they just want people to hear them out most of the time. And that's very important. So I think that's important as a detective. You get to kind of like see the background and kind of like follow up with people after the fact. And you'd be surprised, like a lot of people, like I said, they just want to talk and they just want their story to be heard too. And that's important for a citizen of the community. And I think that a lot of our patrolmen definitely take that initiative, and it makes our jobs as detectives a lot easier, because a lot of the investigative work and a lot of the interacting with the public, a lot of our patrol officers have gotten like way better with that, and it's like I said, it makes our job easier because they've already had that interpersonal communication. So it's a good position to be in.
Good. You know, what I'm hearing, the constant message from all of you, is that it's important to establish rapport with whoever we're dealing with, whether it be a teenager in the high school, whether it be a victim of a crime, or even a suspect that we're trying to get a confession from, or interviewing somebody for more information on a case, dealing with people on the street, maybe just to give you information as to what's going on, what have you. Establishing that rapport from the get-go is the key. So just to expand on that a little further, what are some of the keys that you guys use to establish rapport with the people that you're dealing with?
I'm gonna jump in. Last time I did it.
You just smile at them, right?
Oh, no, well, yeah, smile at them, that works too. But if not, I'm very good at delegating. There was an incident. It was a domestic incident, but there was a child involved who had to witness some things we didn't want to witness, you know. When the child was brought back to the state, you know, he was going through some trauma or whatever, and, you know, the family's African American. I was speaking to the mother, and, you know, she felt bad. She didn't know what to do because she knew that the incident was affecting him. And I said, wait, just patch you through to my school resource officer. She's like, yeah, but I want somebody who's going to understand him. And I said, oh, no, it's a second. You'll be fine.
Sing to him.
You'll be fine. You know, it's like that. So that's one thing I did. I utilized a great officer, you know, to accomplish my goal. So that's what I did.
Good.
Delegated that responsibility.
I think just being yourself, honestly, is that's what it boils down to. Like, that's the best way, like, I can develop a rapport with somebody or anything like that. Like, I'm not, most of my interactions and start off with a surprise factor, because they're surprised probably that I'm a cop, or they're surprised that I'm in the position I am. And then it turns into like, oh, wow, maybe I could, so just, you know, just looking like how I look and being myself, being true to myself, I think it resonates with, and it's something that Officer Senior said earlier, just like, you know, I'm not gonna be able to relate to a black female the same way that Officer Tamika Williams can. It's just, it is what it is.
Right.
But just me looking the way I look, there's some people that are gonna gravitate to me automatically, and some people point me out, I only wanna talk to him, or I only wanna talk to this guy. We have all experienced that. Like, so, and I think that's really important though, too.
I think a respect factor too is key. You know, I've gone on plenty of domestics or hostile situations. It starts with a conversation. You know, even whether it's the husband or the wife, whoever's wrong, it doesn't really matter. Just let me hear your side of the story. You know, and you got to have a calm demeanor in a situation like that, because everyone's elevated. So, and I pretty much do have that demeanor. Everyone knows me, so it's not a question of who's right or wrong. Like, just tell me what happened, you know. Just tell what happened. Yeah, oh, she did that, okay. And I find 99% of the time, even if he's going away in handcuffs, he's cool. He's cool with that. So it's a respect factor.
To touch upon that, and with detective, being yourself is the most important thing you can do. And I know for myself, there's been situations where someone just wanted to talk to me just because they could relate, and it'll de-escalate the situation where instead of us having to do any use of force, we can talk and have the person comply with our orders, and then it's a win-win for everyone. No one's getting hurt, and situation was resolved effectively.
So to add to that, just like sitting here, I'm a big jokester. I like to smile. You know, certain calls, I'll get on a knee and talk to the victim and just let them know, like, hey, listen, you having a bad day, I get it, and I'm here with you. I understand. And in addition, for me, you know, I'm Haitian American. All right, so that's another culture I got to tap into. So with the demographics in Union now, there's a lot more Haitian Americans in town. So you go to a call, you just hit one line. Oh, mommy, what's going on? Come here, mommy. They're like, oh, you Haitian? And it just opens up a river. Like, okay, now I can really decompress. I can really, you know, I have trust in you now. So that's an additional bonus. Being who you are, and culture. Culture is everything. And we have a significant culture.
Remember how you diffused that MV stop with the street crimes that day?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we almost had a riot. I came out and I started speaking Creole, and I'm like, hey, you know, da 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 da, and everything was calm.
Nice.
A bit dramatic.
All right. Tell me how important racial diversity is to you in this line of work, and do you feel the level of diversity meets the demographics of our town?
I'll start.
Good.
I think racial diversity, and it should in the department, it should mirror the demographic, right, of the city that you work in, and for numerous different reasons, right? It could be because people don't take the test, people might not be interested in certain line of work or different things. This town is more of a transitional type of town. We have a lot of people that work other places, that come from other different places, that stay here, that live here, work, you know, do everything other places. A lot of people didn't, maybe possibly, like I didn't grow up in Union. So I think that just being in the community, people in the community want to see officers that look like them. It's literally as simple as that. Like, if there's a community that's, you know, white or black or whatever the color is, they want to see people that look like them and that are as invested in their community as they are. So I think like living in town is important, even temporarily, so that you can get a feel of the town. Because if you, let's say you work in Newark, but you grew up in Cedar Grove, or you always lived in Cedar Grove your whole entire life, you can't tell me about Newark. Or if you live in Union and you come from Newark, you can't tell me about Union if you always lived in Newark and you never did anything in Union. You can't tell me about certain landmarks, anything. It could be certain things that you even use to calm and decompress situations like that. Even him speaking on being Haitian American, right? Like, if there are no Haitian officers, how can we have someone to, we have a growing Haitian community, and it'll probably be double the size within the next 5 years, right? So we're going to need more, Creole speaking officers. It's going to be, a thing. So, and that, even with the Hispanic community, same thing. So I think that you just have to have people that live in the community, are invested in the community as the citizens are.
Okay. I would say since I've been here, 2009 has definitely changed as far as the department in terms of this diversity. Obviously there's room for improvement, but it's definitely changed. And to piggyback off of that, I mean, I've gone to calls where it was almost a riot. Like I was on nights once, and as a sergeant, my first month or two as a sergeant, and was up here on Hilton Ave. And some kids I grew up with, basically, they were having a party. It was really loud, crazy. Neighbors were complaining about it. And I want to say the day shift I went initially, but it was still going on. I went up there cool, calm conversation, it was pretty much dead at that point because they knew, you know what I'm saying? They knew who I was. They respected me. I gave them the same respect, you know, regardless in and out of uniform. So I think, you know, diversity, especially people from the community, is critical. It's definitely critical.
That back to that whole respect and rapport dynamic.
Yeah,
Yeah, to piggyback off Sarge, a big thing too, being homegrown, right? I think that's huge because I moved here in the 2nd grade, so you know I went through all union school systems. So to be back as the SRO in the high school, those same security guards and teachers to see me, right? It's kind of it made the transition easier. So even in that case, you know, to come out on certain calls, you never know who you're going to see. Somebody will recognize you and they'll say, "Oh, you know, that's you, Officer Sendian?" "Oh, all right, man, I got you. Don't worry about it." You know, it's a level of calmness. It just, you don't need to say too much. It's just like I knew who you are. I know who you are. I know what you're about. I'm not going to give you a hard time. You know. Now, not saying it's right, but for other officers, the conversation might be a little bit different. You know, you might have to attack it in a different way, but being homegrown and being part of the community and people seeing you when you were little to now, it just makes everything easier. And I think that's a big key. I think we need to tap in to the homegrown kids that go to the high school, that been here, because they know the town, right? They know the lingo, the slang, they know where to go, you know, where kids will be hiding if need be, because they, you know, they've been here, they've done it. So I think relating to that is a big thing, instead of, you know, really pulling, not to say it's bad, but, you know, pulling people that hasn't been from here, don't know about the town and how to even speak to them. You know, Union's different. Union got a little bit of everything. Yeah, a little bit of everything. So, you know, we kind of need people that have been experienced, you know, Union over, you know, 10 plus years. That's a big thing.
Yeah, very true. Anybody else? Tamika, anything? No? Okay. All right. So, next one is your opinion. Okay, so think about this. Tell me something you feel can be done to influence or motivate younger people of color to have a career in law enforcement, look to pursue a career in law enforcement.
That's very, very simple. I believe we need to be out there doing more community functions, them seeing us. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, reading to a cop or whatever, a basketball game with the high schoolers, you know, or us having something similar at the middle school. You know, or us going to the elementary school, just us being there, seeing us, you know, in our own element, no cameras, no nothing, just, hey, Officer Freeman, go kick it with the kids today at Burnett Middle School. I know we have resource officers there, but just us being more one-on-one with the community is enough. It leads, because like, we always have this beef with drip. Right?
Yes. You're like
that's the thing now. They like, oh, let me see a drip. Okay, I'll show you my drip. Then that's a relatable thing.
Right.
Like these younger generation, they need to see us in that element, and they say, you know what, I feel good now.
Because I do believe they think we sleep with this uniform on. Like I think they think it's like this is like pajamas with the feet. Like they think that we don't change ever. So they don't believe like we have, you know, lives outside of this. Like we like football, we like basketball, we root for certain teams, you know what I mean? They don't get to see that. What they see is this all the time. Some people, they just associate it with this so much. You can walk past them in the street and they won't even, I'm telling you, they won't even know it's you because, you know, you wearing regular clothes. Right. You know, and it's true what Randy said, they gotta see us in the skinny jeans and the J's and the, you know, a nice shirt or, you know, a fitted hat, because, you know, it's just, it's being calm, it's regular. And also it kind of, it's not heightened, right? Because sometimes us being in a uniform is a little bit intimidating to them. This is just what the way it is. Not necessarily we're doing anything purposely to do that, but it's just the way, the nature of the job, right? So to see us in a calm element, regular clothes, doing regular things, I think is, like you said, is beneficial. And I think we could get a lot of the kids to see, all right, they are like us. You know, they do the things that they do. This is just our line of work. This is how we provide for our family. That's it. And you know, it's a great career for them to really see that. He is right about that.
I think if I could jump on this point, I think it's a balancing act, right? Because like a powerful thing that happens when I go to scenes, like when we go to scenes, is when Kurt steps in.
Yeah.
And they see Lieutenant Carter.
Yeah.
You know, and you know he's running the show out there. And what you notice is Kurt, he creates little Tians and little Crumbs.
Yeah.
You know the Elijahs
Yeah.
and you know the Acaries, they saw me and Crumb, we
Yeah.
created, you know, and then people see them. There is no telling, you know, how many young black girls want to be Tamika right now.
Yeah.
She don't even know, because they saw her in every stop and she wasn't even paying attention to them. You know, so that's why the racial diversity as a whole is important, because it's as important for that little black girl to see Tamika Williams as it is for those brown girls to see Juliana and Francine. You know, so I think as a whole, I think the unfortunate answer is you have to give us time. And when I say us time, I mean the officers in color who are in position to change the opinions of people. You let us rock out, and then people are going to want to follow that example, and then they're going to apply.
Yeah.
So we just have to keep being the pillars within our community and not, you know, letting down the public trust. And trying to rebuild it. You know?
I think they have to. I think that younger people, especially African American men and younger boys, they have to see. We're kind of more of a see it type of community, right? Like, so you see your favorite rapper or your favorite artist or whatever. They showing you how they get money. Like, they showing you, like, it's a facade mostly, right? But they showing you, and you growing up in a certain community, you see who's getting the money. You see who you want to be like early on. Like, oh, these are the guys. So like, when I was growing up, my father always kept me around like police officers, firefighters, and all that. So I had a lot of. It wasn't just my father. It was like I seen a lot of black men that were kind of mentors without having to mentor. I just watched them. And it kind of subconsciously, I was like, yeah, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
So you have to show them that it's attainable, right? Like, you can get the same, maybe not the same cars and money, but you're gonna live well. You're gonna live very well. Like, you're not gonna starve. Like, you're gonna drive a nice car if that's what you want. And it's attainable on an honest level. Like, you don't have to break the law or anything like that to get, or to look like this. I'm pretty sure I look like some people's favorite rapper or something like that, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that I'm very similar to that, right? But they have to see that it's attainable, just like I saw it was attainable, right? Like, when I first came here, like you said, like, to piggyback off Detective Lieutenant Carter, like, that's who I saw when I first came here, and I was like, I was on corrections still. He had like a stop and arrest like right in front of my house, and I was like, oh, I'm doing that. Like, and I seen his car. He had a red G35 at the time. I'll never forget it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, they get money in Union. I'm gonna go to Union. Like, that's like how it really sounds like very simple, but that's as simple as it is. Like, they just have to see that it's attainable.
Yeah, I could say personally, like, I still have family here in town, so I'll come through not in my uniform. I shop here, I shop at Target, I shop at Whole Foods, and people will see me, you know, they'll see me in my truck or whatever, and they'll be like, yo,
you get
what's
money
up with that? You get money. So it's like, and they'll ask me, you know, how do I get on the job? They'll ask me, you know, and I'll tell them, you know, this is how you do it. You know, people ask me that question all the time, because the key is, like he was saying, homegrown and being with the community in and out of uniform. You know, just having conversations. You know, I still have a house here in Union, and I've gone on calls where, you know, my house is up on Indiana, and people like, I know him, you know, and you know, they want to talk to me because I still have roots here. You know, I still.
That's kind of a little bit different for me. Like, even though we are, like, considered a hands-on community, even though prior to here I was in correction, so it was a lot of black people there at the prison. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm not a person that likes to stay stagnant, and I feel as though my mindset could be used elsewhere. So when I came here, I was like, you know, it's just me. I gotta pave the way. Like, that's something like that would be exciting to me. Like, you know, I like to be a trendsetter, but it's like, it wasn't nothing for me to have hands-on with. You know, I couldn't relate to no one else here like me. So it's like, okay, now I gotta relate to you all, you know? So it was like, okay, well, how can I do this? This is just me. Like, then it can start for others to probably wanna join and be like, oh, she's doing that, I wanna do that too. Like, there's no females in tech, but how can I do that, you know? How can I start it off? So it was a little bit different for me. So, and it's still kind of still a little different.
So let me pick on you a little bit.
Don't pick on me.
How do you think you can motivate other young women of color to pursue an interest in law enforcement and possibly obtain a career?
Well, I just tell them like this, if this is something that you have to be passionate about and you have to, like Randy says, do the work with compassion. Like even when I'm on calls, it's females that ask me, oh, how do you like being an officer or whatever? So it's my opinion, it has to be something that you would like to do. I can tell you what I like to do and I can tell you how I can talk to others, but you might get a different perspective from others in the public and you might respond differently than me. So if this is something that you want to do, it's not just about helping people, but it can help yourself. So that's what I would tell them, if you want to help yourself, help others in our community as well as others, then I would say go for it. You know, it has to be something that you want to do.
So I would say from a community policing standpoint, just me attending events in town, interacting with the community, they do love seeing us at a lot of these events. The town does appreciate and love what we do. And I think that just being yourself, not just at an event, just in the course of your duties, how you work, patrol yourself, it's the little things the town remembers and the citizens remember. It could be as simple as you're going to dismissal of school, kids are talking about a movie or like a video game or something or music, and you talk to them, that makes a difference. That's what they remember the most. And I believe that like the more and more organic interactions we build with the community is ultimately going to get more and more people to inquire and apply more. Since I've been in community policing, I've met kids from our junior police academy program from the beginning of it, want nothing to do with being a police officer. Then 2-3 years later, I'm in, whether it's Burnett or Kwame, and I see them, and they're like, oh, I want to do what you want to do. I had such a great experience. It's those organic experiences of us just being ourselves. And I think that we are really reaching more and more to the community. More and more people are interested in seeing what being a police officer is, and they see role models like the officers in this room with myself, and they see that this is something I can do. And from a personal standpoint, when I came into the department, I saw Sergeant Stratford, I saw Detective Crum, I saw Detective Freeman, I saw Detective Akira, I saw Kurt, and I looked to them and I saw them as like, the sky's the limit. I could, if I really apply myself, I could do that. So I think that people just will see organically that it is possible and this is a good career to get involved in.
Good.
I think that's a key word too, like organic. Has to be organic. It can't be forced. It can't be like I was directed to go somewhere in a community and fake like I like the kids and stuff like that, because they're gonna see right through it. Like they're not gonna respond to this day and age. These kids is not, these young adults is not going for like anything other than organic communication, and because they could do what they can do that without it. Like they don't need us to do that. So it has to be organic. Like it has to be to where they organically see, like, and I'm glad that you used that word, because like I said, that's the only way we're gonna reach them, if it's like, if they feel like it's a real thing, like if we really care about it. That's why the older I've gotten, I talk less and I kind of like just be an example just by people seeing me, and kind of like, you know, everybody here does the same thing, but you know, like people seeing you and just what they see, that's what gets people now. That's what gets the young adults. That's what's gonna have people like apply for this job and stuff like that, is they have to see us doing well in this position.
Good.
I just want to jump on that word though, organic. Speaking of which, I don't think anyone probably epitomizes that more than Ramel, especially like on the corner and stuff like that. He's not a guy who advertises, oh, you know, little kids, anything like that. But I've worked with Mel for years, and I think that's the best word to describe you. You know, I know you spoke about the center, but I think it's important that they see you out there and that you're out there. What you doing? How you liking that job?
I like it. It's good.
You like it out there? Appreciate you, man.
Squared away.
Squared away? Yeah. Appreciate it.
Like I said, visibility, I think, is the most important thing. And we're all African, but we're all different. Somebody can relate to us in their own way.
Absolutely.
Pick up on it, you know. So just diversity, representation is important. Let them see it. You know, like I said, you can be visible, you can be a silent role model, just be out there doing your thing. Somebody will take a liking to you or see what you're doing, and they can relate to you, and they'll start going towards that path.
My man. That's
I want to say a special thank you to Lieutenant Kirk Carter. He's not here right now, but he's a pioneer. He's a legend. One of the first African-American supervisors on his department. I remember the first day I came here, in the Sally Port, he walked down. I said, okay, my man got dreads. He got Air Max 90s on. All right, bet. We're set. You know, wherever you are right now, LT, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Yep.
So Detective Lieutenant Carter was supposed to be here with us today. Unfortunately, though, he had other plans that couldn't be changed, and we do miss him. But yeah, he definitely is a great officer. We're happy to have him. So I'm glad he's motivated so many of you that are here with us now. So as we end today's discussion, I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you for your participation, providing your insight and your willingness to share with us. And for those of you at home, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today.